This episode of AI Success Cast is brought to you by the AI Success Club. Do you find yourself asking questions like, how do I keep up with all the new AI updates? How do I harness AI for my marketing? And how do I stay in my zone of genius? Visit AISuccessClub.com and start leveraging your AI copywriting and content creation skills for maximum profits.
Welcome to AI Success Cast, the quintessential podcast for entrepreneurs, marketers, and tech enthusiasts that shows you how to innovate, inspire, impact, and integrate the transformative power of artificial intelligence into your businesses and professional life. This is where technology meets human ambition. The future of AI becomes an accessible reality, and listeners like you are empowered to rewrite your success story in the age of AI. Be sure to visit our website at AISuccessCast.com, and while you're there, subscribe to us via your favorite network. Now get your notepad ready, make yourself comfortable, and prepare to be powerfully prompted toward profit. All right, we are back inside the AI Success Cast. I'm Andy O'Brien, and we have a real treat for you today. Mr. Lou Bortone. If Don Vito Corleone, Marty Scorsese, and Jerry Seinfeld got together to make an AI baby, you might end up with Lou Bortone. Lou is known as the video godfather and is consigliere to some of the brightest names in digital marketing. He's a video marketing expert, author, speaker, and host of the Godfather podcast. Prior to becoming a videopreneur, Lou spent more than 20 years in the television business before being run out of Hollywood. So Lou is also a father to twins, a rescuer of pugs, and an expert at Italian curses. Lou Bortone, it is great to have you here on the AI Success Cast. We couldn't do this podcast without having you on. You're such a trooper for coming on our AI Success Club calls and keeping everybody, motivated in there. And
yeah, you got to stay on top of this stuff. And congratulations on pronouncing consigliere. You pronounced it correctly. Most people get it wrong.
Oh, that's because I've seen The Godfather hundreds of times.
Yeah,
one of my favorite films of all time, and Godfather 1, 2. So I'm a fellow super fan.
Awesome.
But here we are in the AI realm here. And my first question would be, what was it that made you kind of realize that AI wasn't just a flash in the pan? And this was like late 2022, I believe.
Yeah.
And just right before everything just exploded and all the games were changed after that.
Yeah, I think for me, I was using Descript.com to edit podcasts. And when I saw, that they added this remove filler words, I'm like, oh my God, this is magic. I'm taking a podcast. I say and ah a lot. I'm from Boston. Usually AI doesn't understand my accent, but I could go in and edit the text and take out all my ums and ahs with one click. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is what AI can do. And that's when I realized, when I started using it like every single day, I knew, all right, this is going to be big.
Oh, yeah. And you mentioned Descript, and that is really something. And it's come a long way. Mm-hmm. For those of you who are familiar with Descript, it started out as just a transcription tool, right?
Yeah, it was like Rev.com. It was sort of like a podcast tool. And suddenly they started adding these sort of AI elements, like edit text instead of editing the timeline in a video, and taking out the ums and ahs and automatically shortening word gaps. So like when you're my age, you have these little memory lapses and you just stop talking, and AI fixes all that. So I sound much more articulate than I normally am.
Yeah, I can relate. And that's obviously one of your favorite AI tools, and we'll probably dive back into that in a minute. What are some of your other ones that you've been telling people about?
On the video side, I like Pictory.ai because unlike Descript, Pictory sort of creates a video for you based on the text that you put into it. So Pictory will go out and actually find videos, B-roll images, things like that, and start to actually assemble a video for you. Whereas with Descript, it's really more of an editing tool. Pictory is kind of like a video creation tool. So you put in some text and all of a sudden Pictory just picks out the images and the videos and sort of creates a video for you, which again, you can't really use out of the box like with any AI, but it really gives you a pretty big head start. So things like that. Opus Clip is another one that I talk about quite a bit. Video, there's so many I can hardly keep them all straight. It's so funny. I just have a folder with all these different video tools in there that I use, and I sort of toggle back and forth between the tool depending on what I'm trying to accomplish.
Well, and that's the thing. I'm wondering about, is there like a one-stop shop, or are people still like bouncing around from one app to the next, or plug in or whatever?
I think it depends on your workflow and what you want to accomplish. So for me, I do a lot of podcast editing and video editing. So I use Descript, numerous times a day. And like with this, like I said, when you do a podcast, for me, when I was editing my podcast or videos in Final Cut Pro, which is a traditional linear video editing tool that I've been using for 20 years, it would take me, maybe 2 hours to edit, a 15-minute podcast. And with Descript.com, I can do it in 20 minutes.
Wow.
Don't tell my clients that it's that easy. But you talk about cutting your editing time or your production time in half or in a third. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, and I can attest to the the slog of video editing before this came along.
Yeah,
I was 2 years ago and beyond, I was just like, get me away from video editing. I'd rather just not do video if I had to edit it.
Yeah, it can be really time consuming. So the fact that these tools can, just like, oh my God, this is like, I can practically click a couple buttons and I'm done. So.
Yeah. Wow. What a game changer, really.
And the thing is, like with any AI, you still have to know what you're doing. You have to understand storytelling and the basics of like, okay, well, if I'm, editing should be basically seamless and you shouldn't even notice it's there. So it's one of those things, but you still have to kind of understand, what you're trying to accomplish and what you're trying to create. So it's not a overnight one-click kind of solution, but it gives you a huge head start.
I can imagine. Now, if you could paint a picture of like what life was like before AI and after AI for you as a video marketing expert, what it must have just totally turned everything on its head.
It did. Again, I was editing in Final Cut Pro, and again, I came out of the TV business. So back in the day, this is going way back, when I worked at E! Entertainment Television, you needed an edit suite and 3 people and thousands of dollars worth of equipment. And eventually, with Final Cut Pro and even iMovie to a lesser extent, you could pretty much do that stuff yourself, but it was still very time consuming. You're going in and doing these little micro edits and cutting and pasting and moving. And then with AI, you just sort of say, oh, I'm just going to copy this line here and move it up to there into Descript, and it's done. So again, it saves an enormous amount of time. And it just, when you have your time back, that's like, just huge, because that's the great equalizer, right? We've all got 24 hours in a day. And if you can use yours more productively, then that's the freedom and flexibility that we as entrepreneurs are looking for.
Oh yeah, I'm dating myself here, but when you started talking about the old days of video editing, I used to be a creative services director for about a year and a half for a local TV station.
Oh wow!
And that involved, and this was like 1989.
Yeah,
that involved taking these. I forget what they even called them back then, but we get our video. The videographer would go out and shoot a commercial, bring it back, and he popped it out, and we had to put it into this big machine, and that's how we did our video editing back then.
Yeah. I remember because again, my dad worked at a TV station, so I'd go on the weekends and mess around, and we'd go into the film department, and they were literally cutting physical tape with razor blade. And I'm like, oh my God, that's just like ridiculous. So for better or worse, it is so much easier. And the other great thing about it is I think it's democratized, video editing and video in general. So you don't have to be a video editor. You don't have to know Final Cut Pro. I mean, again, I used that for years and years and years. And it's so funny because now it's like I don't go back to Final Cut Pro very often. I can do 90% of what I'm doing in the Descript AI software. So for $144 a year or whatever it is, it's like, oh my God, it's saving me time, it's saving me money, it's saving me headaches. And I can deliver my stuff to my clients a lot more quickly.
Wow. And you are one of the Descript like official experts, or what do they call those?
I don't know, but just because I've been doing it for so long and using it, sort of like a power user. So I try to teach other people how to use it because it's kind of like, okay, let's get on the bike here and you've got training wheels this week, but next week we're taking the training wheels off and you're going to ride off into the sunset.
So what are some other ways you integrate AI into your video work? You mentioned Pictory.
Mm-hmm.
And like, what else are you doing like in a typical day for your clients?
If you go back, again, even before the editing stuff, again, it's a lot of it's using ChatGPT or Claude for video ideas, video topics, video scripting. I mean, if you ask ChatGPT to create a video script for whatever topic, it's not only to give you a script, it's also going to give you the shots and like, okay, open on this and then shoot this and then zoom on that. So again, the more you finesse it and the more you tweak it and the better information you give it up front, the better output you're going to get. So I'm using it for video topics, for video content. I use it to create video editorial calendars for my clients. I say create a calendar that publishes one YouTube video a week and one YouTube short a week, and it'll sort of put that all on a grid and lay it out for us. So it's amazing things you can do to save time, and that way. I got last year I got an e-bike. It's like, okay, so I want to go ride my e-bike more and I don't have time to do that. But if I do this in the AI, it's going to save me 2 hours that I can go out and move on with my e-bike.
Nice.
And I use that e-bike analogy I used for something else because my wife and I, we went to Italy last year and we rented e-bikes to sort of tour through Tuscany, and I assumed that an e-bike meant you didn't have to pedal. Like I thought it was like a moped.
Yeah.
And I got on the bike. I'm like, oh, I still have to pedal. That bike just makes it a little bit easier to go up hills. And for me, that's what AI is. It's like, okay, you still have to pedal, but it's going to make it a hell of a lot easier to get up those hills.
Oh, that's a great analogy. I love that.
I have to pedal? This isn't going to, just drive me. Like, I had no idea that e-bikes were. So it's like basically pedal assisted, just like AI is. Like, yes, you do have to use your brain a little bit, but it's going to make it a hell of a lot easier.
And I think a lot of people now don't realize that. They're just letting it do all the work, which is not the way to go,
Right.
You need to still inject your own humanity in there, and
right.
And if you don't want it to rob you of your personality, your humanity.
Yeah, and the other thing is, I know there's software out there that I play with, like Synthesia and HeyGen, which will take you and create an AI sort of clone version of you. And right now, I mean, this may change in a week, but right now I'm really against it because it still looks artificial. And basically, you're taking that humanity that you guys talk about in the AI Success Club, you're taking that out of the equation. So it's like, yeah, it's me, but it's not, And I tried HeyGen last week to send out some video emails, and it was just very monotonous and artificial. And I'm like, that's just not, and you can't just say, okay, be more snarky, be more sarcastic. So far it's that AI, as far as AI video cloning yourself, I don't think it's there yet.
No, I don't think so either. It's amazing, what it can do, but at the end of the day, you still have to inject your own nuances into it.
Yeah, I will say on the using Descript, I can do my voice clone. Now, I gave it a half an hour of my voice to train on. So the more it hears your voice, the better it gets. So I can, if I screw up a paragraph in a video, I can just, say, okay, generate my voice and redo this paragraph. And that's really good.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I didn't know it could do that.
Yeah. So I can use my voice clone to say, well, just read this part in my voice. And it's pretty much imperceptible. I mean, you can't really tell the difference between when it's me talking and when it's the AI voice talking.
But what tool is that?
That's in Descript.
That's
right? Within Descript. You train Descript on your voice. You give it, like in this case, I gave it a half-hour webinar. And it learns your voice. And then if you need to regenerate part of your script in your own voice, you can do that. I mean, I could probably just take a blog post and paste it into Descript and then just say, read this in my voice. But I usually don't do that just because I don't quite trust it yet, although it's pretty good.
Wow. Another big thing is repurposing all the video content, right? I mean, Descript is great at that because one thing I did a few months ago, I have my own YouTube channel. There's 33 videos, which, that may be a lot for some people, might be 90 amount for others. But I'm pretty proud of that. So what I did was put them all into Descript, and got the transcriptions for all of them, and then pasted those one by one into ChatGPT and asked it to generate like 20 like social media posts for each.
Wow. Yeah.
And so I ended up with like hundreds of social media posts. So, I mean, that's just one thing that I was able to do in about an hour.
Yeah. The other thing I do a lot with Descript, and again, I mention that a lot because it's the one that I use kind of on a daily basis. But if you're creating a video for YouTube and you say, okay, I want to repurpose this to LinkedIn and I want to make a YouTube short or a TikTok video, it's so much easier to cut and paste and say, okay, I'm taking my original widescreen video. Now I'm going to make a vertical version. And you can do that fairly easily in tools like Descript or Pictory. And suddenly you've got like, okay, I just pulled out a nice little vertical video. So now I've got a square version with captions for LinkedIn. I've got a vertical version for YouTube Shorts. And, previously that would have taken a long time in something like Final Cut Pro. So that's been a game changer as well, just in terms of the time it saves to repurpose your content and put more content out there.
Are you finding that a lot of people out there are like me who say, I know I got to do video. I know it's really powerful, but for some reason, I just can't get, what is it about that? It's like a mental block or what is it?
I think it is. It's like, for me, like, book writing, it just seems like such a big thing to tackle. But the funny thing is that when I work with folks, whether it's in Descript or another software, if I'm working with my clients, they sort of have this, I'm like, oh, if I knew it was that easy, I would have done it a long time ago. Or they think it's going to take 3 hours and it takes 15 minutes.
Right.
Because they just haven't dived into it. And I'm the same way because I do video sort of in fits and starts. Like I might get inspired and do 4 or 5 at a time and then not do some for a week or two. So I try to batch record my stuff, especially because I have 2 pugs here that are very rambunctious. And if I'm like, oh my God, the pugs are napping, the guy next door finally stopped blowing his leaves, it's quiet, I can do 4 or 5 videos now, and I just bang them out and then drift them out over the course of time.
Man. And I guess one of the keys is just do one,
Right.
Get, what do they say? What's the word? Just kind of get that one, out of the way,
Yeah. The first one's the hardest.
Yeah.
Yep. So oftentimes what I'll do with my clients is I'll interview them on Zoom like this for an hour and just ask them questions. Say, nope, don't get a script. I'm just going to talk to you. We're going to do a back and forth. And I'll take myself out of the video and I'll edit the video. And, from that one 45-minute Zoom call, I can get 10 or 15 or 20 videos of them because I'm just pulling out their tidbits and taking the best parts.
Nice. Wow. So in the video realm of AI, Lou, what do you see coming down the pike? Do you any predictions? Lou's crystal ball here.
Oh my gosh, I wish that's the $1 million question. I think you will see a lot more synthesized clone kind of videos that are getting better, but I think you have to be really careful about how and when you use those because you don't want to sort of take the soul out of it. So I think you'll see just a lot more of that and a lot more of the sort of like, well, I'm just going to throw in a prompt and let ChatGPT do the rest. Like I know Sora, I looked yesterday and I guess it's still not quite out yet, but the ability to put in a prompt into ChatGPT and create a video from that prompt, like DALL-E for photos, you'll have the same video. So I think that remains to be seen, but obviously it's gonna be a pretty big deal when that's available to everybody.
Boy, and there's just so many things. Like every time I talk to someone for the podcast, I always say, I kind of preface the prediction section with, next week at this time, that prediction might come true.
Exactly.
Yeah, because it's just moving so fast, faster than anything I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, it's the same with, the reason I do the Descript class several times a year is because they just keep updating and evolving and improving. And now, again, within Descript, they have these AI functions where you can say, create show notes for this podcast, create a YouTube description with chapter markers. All that kind of stuff would have been, a lot of manual labor before. And now, again, you don't want to necessarily use it right out of the box. You still have to edit it, but it does give you a big head start.
Oh, yeah. And that's actually one thing I wanted to kind of end our session with here, Lou, is like, if someone wants to work with you, where would you, tell them to go first?
Yeah, you can go to loubortone.com where all my stuff is. I do one-on-one coaching, group coaching. You're in the fast forward group, which kind of gets you into all my classes and courses and things like that. And I love doing the Descript course. I have an evergreen version and I do it live several times a year just because, again, that for me has been probably the single biggest piece of software that's changed my business.
Wow. I can personally attest to the Fast Forward group being just an amazing resource, and it's great for accountability and like, if you're like me, I keep saying that, and you just have trouble getting started. People might not believe that because, here we got the AI Success Club, we do videos all the time in there, but it's just not. It's not the kind of thing where I feel like, I'm going to get up in the morning and do a video. It's just, but being in your group, in your community, it's totally different because it's all like-minded people who have similar goals, similar challenges with video, and you just kind of make it all so easy, it seems.
Yeah, my wife's like, what did you buy now? I'm like, well, I have to buy all this gear to tell my folks what's good and what's not good and what they need and what they don't need. So, I've constantly got stuff showing up from Amazon, like, oh my God, he's got another microphone. It's like, well, I gotta test this stuff and then tell my folks what's worthwhile and what's not. Because otherwise, like with AI, that's why I'm in the AI Success Club. It's like, all right, I'm going to be part of this so that you guys can do all the heavy lifting, and then I won't have to, experiment with every single new thing that comes out.
Yeah, well, we appreciate you being in there, Denise Wakeman and I, and it's just a great synergy of the way you've been able to take AI and it just turn it into something so beneficial from a video standpoint for your clients. And so great job with everything, Lou. And we appreciate you being on the podcast with us, and wish you all the best with everything.
Thanks. Good to see you.
Thank you for tuning into AI Success Cast, where you gain the tips, tools, and tactics that prompt you to easily innovate, inspire, impact, and integrate the transformative power of artificial intelligence in your business and professional life. Remember to visit our website at aisuccesscast.com and enjoy even more great episodes like this one. Again, while you're here, subscribe to us via your favorite network. We look forward to seeing you next time on AI Success Cast.